Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, we want to welcome all of you to SKTV today. Today, as you are aware, is Saturday, April 2nd, 2022. We want to welcome all of you, especially to those of you following us from Liberia and other parts of the world. We want to say welcome, welcome, and welcome to SKTV. Today, we are going to play host here to Ambassador, former Ambassador Nathaniel Barnes, who's going to be our guest here today. We're actually going to be in an interview or a conversation, as we put it. Very interesting. You know, we want you to, you know, um, as usual, show him some love. Uh, Welcome him as you've always done to all of our past guests. And we trust the audience of SKTV, the viewers, the listeners. Um, a lot of things going on in the country, a lot of questions for him today, a lot of things to talk about. Um, he's a presidential aspirant. He's also ran for the presidency in Liberia before. So a lot. He has a lot of knowledge from what we've gathered from his bio. So, but he will be able to talk about himself a little more here and give us a preview of who he is and what he's done so far. He's not a stranger to the Liberian politics. Um, and so a lot to uncover, to be quite honest. So we look forward to an interesting interaction, an interesting conversation, an interesting interview here today. Um, the rest of the panelists should be joining us momentarily. But as you're already aware, we want to welcome all of you. Again, welcome to SKTV. As we would say on SKTV, usually the Liberian people are the most important people on earth. And that's why we believe. We also believe that the Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. We'll see how best that can be corroborated today or maybe in the future. But we want to welcome you to SKTV. Um, those of you who are watching us from Australia, from Asia, other parts of Asia, from Europe, from the Americas, we say welcome, welcome, and welcome to the conversation today. Like I said earlier, the rest of the panelists should be joining momentarily. you know, I gave you an interesting, quick joke here while you are sharing the show. I'm not sure if it's a joke, but my first interaction with Mr. Nathaniel Barnes, soon as we met, we shook hands. He says to me, "You look like the younger version of me," and I started to laugh. But it was an interesting, interaction and meeting with him. Um, but he will be here today to tell his side of the story as to, he wants to be president of Liberia and so forth. So, interesting conversation. Our condolences go out today from SKTV to the today, as we learned, it was the burial of Dr. Amos Sawyer. Our condolences and prayers go out to the family. We also want to here today openly recognize, acknowledge, and speak to our Muslim brothers and sisters as they began their month journey of fast and prayer. To wish them a happy Ramadan, and may God give them the strength to be able to go through this time. So yes, a lot of things are happening in the country. A lot is going on, but again, we are here today for this interaction, this interview. Let's share the show. Let's share the show. Invite other people for this conversation. Uh, we are going to get into a quick musical here while we get set up here to get started with this interview to kick it off. We own no copyright to the songs that will be playing. they lie to us. Some might say the politicians lie us. Some might say they don't trust politicians. Some might say politicians can fool people. But all in all, share the show, invite someone, tune in for this interaction, this interview, and we'll be back right now to get started. With no copyright to the songs.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. Y'all gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with their speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to grieve? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. Fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not corrupt. I said no one to trust. My people don't want to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So, why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not corrupt. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to grieve? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie.
Leave it there. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good afternoon, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
What's going on? Greet our
Here,
people really
echo,
quick.
that's why. Huh?
What's going on? Greet our people really quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be on. Happy Saturday. Hope your day and everybody's day is going so well. At least this part of the day. Glad to be on.
Thank you so much, Tel. Well, we're gonna
See if I can echoing.
we're gonna bring in Mr. Nathaniel Bounds in just a second here, but just before we bring in Mr. Nathaniel Bounds, I'd like to. Uh, what are some of your expectations today?
Um, Obviously, what's trending? Want to talk about his his response to Mr. McGill, what he felt, why he felt it was timely or it was the proper thing to do. Also, want to talk about. I understand he's running again for the next election, so want to find out his platform. What are his thoughts about what's going on? What are his how why is he the best person suited to do the job and just the outlook. So
Okay. Why is he such? Why he thinks he's the best person? Just the outlook. Okay. Well, we'll waste no time. Sekou and the people from Liberia are making connections in the back, so they should be joining us very, very soon. But in the meantime, not to take up your time, to our viewers and our listeners, please continue to share the show. I'm not sure what's happening here. Give me a second before bringing our guest. I know he's been here. All right, great. This is good to go. Good morning. Good afternoon, Mr. Barnes. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you. How are you?
hello,
How
Ambassador
are you?
Bond.
How are you? How are you doing, young lady?
Doing fine. Happy Saturday. Glad to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. I gotta say this. I love that song that you just played.
They lie to us,
Because
right?
yeah, you lied to us. I love that song because the thing that comes to my mind right away when I hear it is, yeah, they lied to you, but what are you doing about it? What are you going to do about it? Okay, so it's a rather old song. It's a few years old, but I always think that it's so poignant, and I really like it because it always comes back to the question is, yeah, they lied to you, they exploited you. What are you doing about it?
Hmm. Interesting
Very
thought. Well, I know it's your very first time on SKTV. We want to welcome you. Just before you introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers from around the world, we'd like to quickly make this disclaimer. As you are already aware, our viewers and our listeners, want to make sure we make Ambassador Bounds feel welcome and at home here, as you've always done for everyone else. So please be respectful to our guests, as always, so that we don't have to send you for safekeeping. So we look forward to you honoring that. And as we get into the conversation here, for some, they have heard the name, Mr. Bounce. But just before you introduce yourself, I know when we first met, what was your statement to me? And I started laughing. What do you say about that? What do you say about that statement? Or what was that
I
statement?
say you look like another version of me, and we probably need to do some kind of DNA tracing because there may be something there, but who knows, who knows. But I'm thrilled to be here. I'm happy to be here. Do you want me to go ahead with this introduction? My name is Nathaniel, but I'm known largely as Nat Barnes. And the thing I see myself most is as a servant, as I've spent much of my life in a position of service. I come from a legacy of service. I was born and raised in Liberia. I was born in Monrovia. My father's people originally from Maryland County. So I spent some time of my childhood in Maryland County. As a matter of fact, we are pretty well entrenched in Maryland County. There is a school on Maryland Avenue in Harper City called Nathan Barnes Elementary and Junior High School. It was established by my great grandfather. So we have very strong roots in Maryland County. The other side of my family is from what used to be Montserrado County. Now it's, I guess, Marshall and Shufflin. That's so. I was born and raised in Monrovia. I went to elementary, junior high school. I went to CWA, graduated from CWA 100 years ago. No, I'm only kidding. In 1972, about 50 years ago. And then I worked for a short while in a bank and on a farm, on a rubber farm, because I could not determine whether I wanted to be a banker or a farmer. And at the suggestion of my dad, I worked for a period of time on a farm, on a rubber plantation, and then a shorter period, another period of time at a bank. And after that experience, I made a determination that I did want to pursue banking. I attended the University of Liberia for a very short period of time, like one semester. And then I was very fortunate to go to the U.S. to go to college. I went to a small school in New Jersey called Rider College. It's now Rider University, and finished a bachelor's degree in finance and insurance. And then I went on to get an MBA in finance and banking from Pace University in New York City. I worked in the U.S. I returned to Liberia in 1979, I think it was, and got a job with an insurance company there and worked for a while. Got married to the best woman in the world. Her name is Dawn Cooper Barnes. Then I got a job at Intrusco, an insurance company there. Unfortunately, the coup d'etat happened in 1980, and my family and I left. My wife and I left and resettled in the U.S. We started in Nashville, Tennessee, and took a while, but I did get a job with a company called Nortel. It used to be Northern Telecom at that time, Nortel, a huge network and telecommunications company. It's based in Canada. I worked for Nortel for just under 15 years. And in that period of time, I moved from Nashville to New York City, New Jersey, New York, Virginia. I was all over the place, moving up in the ranks of management. I eventually became a regional controller, and then a director of marketing, and a senior director. Did very, very well at Nortel, learning the business. My area was basically in financial management and marketing. I left Nortel and then started a small telecommunications consultancy. I did that for about 2 years. And then I got a call from a good friend of mine, a gentleman called Eli Salibi, who I knew, and he had just become Minister of Finance in Charles Taylor government after the elections and the win by Charles Taylor. He was Minister of Finance, and he called and said, "Listen, I need your help here." And it happened to be timely because I was looking to leave America and go back to Liberia. I sort of had my fill of America. So I took up and went back to Liberia and worked as an analyst, a special assistant to the minister at the Ministry of Finance for a period of time. At that time, I was more or less responsible for trying to restructure the government external debt, both multilateral, bilateral, and commercial debt. So we had to sort of rebuild the portfolio, which we did, and did all kinds of analysis. After a short while, I was at the ministry. I was asked to serve as Director General of NASCOR, National Social Security and Welfare Corporation, which I did for about 6 months. And in that short period of time, we were able to literally turn the corporation around and put it back on its feet. And then I was asked to serve as Minister of Finance, a huge, huge honor, but it has to have been the hardest thing I've done in my career. I served as Minister of Finance during the Taylor administration. He had, I think there were 4 ministers of finance, and I served over the 6-year period of his term. I served for nearly 3 of those 6 years, and I think I was the third to be appointed as Minister of Finance in his administration. Incredibly challenging times, but we did the best we could. We left out of there with our heads up. I was able to walk the streets of Monrovia feeling very good about what I had tried to do and the changes I attempted to make, and sometimes standing up against the establishment to try to do the right thing. Mr. Taylor said he fired me. I claim I resigned. The end justifies the means. I left there, and then later on I decided, if I'm going to if I want to serve, as my legacy has shown, I'm going to pursue the presidency. And in 2005, I ran for the presidency. I made a determination in 2004, prepared and ran in 2005. As many of you know, it was a very crowded field. There were 22 candidates in the race, and I ended up somewhere in the middle. It must have been 11th or 12th, which I thought was not so bad, even though I was disappointed for my first foray into electoral politics. But as a result of the size of the number of candidates, they went into a runoff, and Mrs. Ellen Sirleaf and Mr. George Weah were the two finalists, and they did the runoff. I and my party were the first to endorse Mrs. Sirleaf in this process because we thought she would bring the best value to Liberia at that particular point that we were in our national existence, so to speak. She was successful. After that whole electoral process, I had really anticipated going and starting up my business and going and starting an agriculture project and going on my farm and sitting and chilling out. But fate did not have it that way. I was asked to serve as ambassador and permanent representative representing Liberia at the United Nations. An incredible honor for me. It was an incredible time in my career because, as many people know, nations send their best and their brightest to represent them at that world stage. And it was an incredible growing experience for me. We were there, we made impacts, largely to our efforts. Through our efforts, we were able to have the sanctions on Liberia lifted and keep Liberia more or less in the circle, remove all of the stigma of war and all of the bad things, negative things about war, and that was haunting Liberia, and brought it back into the fold of the global community. Short 2 years thereafter, Mrs. Sirleaf asked me to serve as ambassador to the United States, Washington D.C. Incidentally, while I was at the United Nations, I also served concurrently as ambassador to Cuba, another very eye-opening and enriching experience. So I served at the Washington D.C. And we made good strides there, keeping Liberia on the American foreign policy radar. And we had an excellent outreach program to the diaspora. We were able to engage the Liberian diaspora and more or less coin the phrase that the diaspora represents two important characteristics of the Liberia experience. Number one, politically, they represent Liberia's 16th county. And economically, they represent Liberia's middle class. Because in Liberia, we have a tiny, quote unquote, upper class and a huge mass of very poor people. And there's no middle class in Liberia. One is developing very slowly, but the middle class largely is the diaspora. The diaspora has been responsible for significant input into the growth and future of Liberia. The analysis showed that the average 10-year remittances is nearly $500 million. So you cannot engage or talk about the future of Liberia without embracing and engaging the diaspora. So we were able to do that, and I felt very good about it. I was recalled 2 years after I started in New York in 2015, I think it was 2010. I'm sorry. I was recalled back to Monrovia. I went to Monrovia and started a small consultancy. And thereafter, I was doing private sector, making my own contribution to the private sector. But then again, I was called upon by Mrs. Sirleaf to serve as chairman of the board of the National Port Authority. Something that I did, and I tried to make my own contributions there. So, I was politically, I was involved, trying to get myself aligned with certain groups. But here, after the 2017 elections, I made the personal decision to sort of step out of the limelight. And that was a personal decision because I needed some time to sort of look at what was happening to Liberia, what was happening in my personal life, and literally try to re-engineer myself, so to speak. So a lot of people say, well, where you been? 2017, since 2017, we see you, where you at? But I was taking time to look, study, understand the situation. And then recently made the determination, I am, as a matter of fact, going to step back into the limelight with a new vigor, with a new approach. My last the last decade or two of my life has been very enriching. And I've been able to make lots of observations, learn very many important lessons. And I begin to realize that you are not a politician. I accept that. I'm a leader. I'm a leader. I take politics as only a tool to leadership. Okay. And that's what I think Liberia needs. We need leaders, not politicians. Leaders that have a wide array of tools to solve our many problems, be they educational, infrastructure, health, governance, whatever. Okay. We need leaders that can use politics as a tool of many tools that they have. The situation as we find ourselves in now for a long time, Liberia has been led by politicians. With one tool and one tool alone, the tool of political rhetoric. Or rhetoric doesn't solve problems. Talk. That's all we eat. That's all we eat. Okay. So those are the things that have motivated me to step forward. Is it going to be easy? Of course not. Because what I'm trying to do here is to change hearts and change minds so that people can realize something very, very important. They have power. People lied to them, people screwed them, people cheated them, people deceived them. What are you going to do about it? And I'm stepping forward to say, I want to take the lead in doing something about this. I can't do it by myself. I know that. And one of the things I've done, that's a very difficult decision to make. I've decided to run as an independent candidate because I believe that institutional politics has been a hindrance to the development of Liberia. We see that happening now with all the different political institutions we have there in infighting. They are so focused on their own personal and institutional agendas that they forget about the most important agenda, the needs of the people of Liberia. So I'm running as an independent. I'm going to engage as many institutions as there are out there who have similar vision, similar thought processes. I'm happy to have them join. Okay. But the whole idea is to create a new breed of leadership for Liberia. So I'm confident. I know how to do it. And I don't want people say, oh, not Bonds arrogant. No. I'm not arrogant. I'm confident. Okay. I believe the two most important qualities a leader needs in the Liberia experience now that we have. Okay. There are many. You got to be honest. You got to be focused. All these things are important. But the two most important ones are, first and foremost, humility. You can't say you want to lead a people or a nation unless you are prepared to first and foremost humble yourself before the Almighty God, and then humble yourself before the very people that you want to be. So humility is the first. The second one is courage. You have to be courageous to do the things that are needed for Liberia. Courageous to make decisions, tough, difficult, sacrificial decisions, and the tenacity to stick with those decisions and see it to its conclusion. So I'm ready. I'm prepared to lead, and I present myself as a servant to the people of Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Barnes. Thank you so much. If you are following us, if you just tune in, you're following us on SKTV. We're also back on the radio, True FM 96.1 in Liberia. Share the show, invite others as we dive into the conversation. That was the voice of Ambassador Nathaniel Barnes here in studio with us. Really quick, we want to get into the conversation, but we'd like to provide some clarity and context, and maybe you can use a minute or so to clarify this.
Sure.
Considering we haven't spoken with former President Charles Taylor, would like to hear from you. Did President Charles Taylor fire you?
It's that's left to interpretation. Truly, the story goes like this. Something had happened that sort of really struck me. I didn't like it. And
what is that something? What is that something? If you don't mind, please.
Well, sometimes people you are told, in a country like ours, the president is the ultimate authority. Go do this. I need you to do that. I need you to do that. and you try to work within the framework of the law and the framework, most importantly, of your own conscience and principles. Okay. So if I'm told to do something and I'm not prepared to divulge what it was, if I'm told to do something and I feel it goes against my principle, I'll question it. Okay. So I figured, well, no, I don't think I want to pursue this. So I'm going to quit. And I call a confidant of mine and say, I think I'm going to resign. Well, for one reason or another, the thing leaked. Okay. And as I was preparing a letter of resignation, an announcement was made on the radio that I had been terminated. So it's left to interpretation. Termination, resignation, end results the same. The ends justifies the means. So, but truly, at the end of the day, I have no regrets for working because while I did have a president or boss that I reported to, my service was to Liberia. And one of the hardest challenges I've had with my experience working in the child state of government was guilt by association. The president is a bandit. The president is a bad man. Of course, his minister of finance has to be a bad man and a bandit, and that's not necessarily true. I served primarily to serve Liberia, and my record speaks for itself.
Okay. Well, you chose, for the record's sake, to not divulge to the public what was that thing that Charles Taylor told you to do that you refused to do.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's my right.
Okay, great.
The fact that I didn't do it is more important than the fact of what exactly it was.
Okay, I think it would be interesting, or it would be fair for the public to know, considering it's been years. But we respect your decision.
Let me say this: number one, it's a long time ago. Number two, when we are moving ahead, okay, we should look ahead. If we keep looking behind us, we may run into a wall or fall into a pit. So let's look ahead and move forward.
All right, great. I have another housekeeping question I wanted to ask you before I get into my question, because these will be my first 2 or 3 questions I will ask you, and then Tel can jump in here to continue the conversation. There seemed to be a pattern, as of most recent, I would say so, of you and your bosses either maybe falling apart or parting ways or so forth. I'll give you an example. Most recently, it was alleged here is one of the reports that came out. Bounce denied allegation that he has recently been made a presentation to friends in the United States outlining his vision for Liberia as a potential presidential candidate in 2011. My question to you now is, did Ellen fire you? And if so, why did she fire you?
Long story, small matter, but I'll try to explain to you. I did receive a call from Mrs. Sully expressing some concerns that she had learned that I was using the office of the ambassador as a platform for my own political ambitions. And I said to her, Madam President, that is not the case. Candidly speaking, do I have presidential, or have I had presidential ambitions, or do I have presidential ambitions? Yes, you know that. You and I competed in the 2005 election, so it's no secret that I have political ambition. However, a diplomatic envoy, by definition, is the eyes, ears, and the mouthpiece of the head of state. I'm sorry, my son is making noise in the background. I hope.
Oh, I saw it from Liberia. That's okay.
No, it's my son. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I said a diplomatic envoy is the eyes, ears, and mouthpiece of his head of state. If I'm going to be an effective envoy for you, I have to stick with your agenda. And I gave you my word. That is all that I'm doing right now. Okay. I cannot be effective and have a second agenda or another agenda as a diplomatic envoy if I were to do this. So rest assured, Madam President, that is not the case. Well, she did recall me. Okay. And in diplomatic speak, being recalled is a way of saying, well, I'm going to remove this person from that particular position. Okay. But that is what happened. People said it, people conjectured. In an environment like that, if you read Machiavelli, that's the dynamics of politics. Okay. When I did meet with Mrs. Sirleaf on a one-on-one basis to have this intervention or this discussion, I clearly said to her, I want to let you know that first and foremost, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to serve my country. It has been an incredible opportunity. The determination of you to recall me, that's your prerogative. We serve at the will and pleasure of the president. But I want to reassure you that I did nothing wrong. Okay. I supported your agenda and I represented you well. Mrs. Sirleaf, in response, in all fairness to her, was very complimentary of my performance and happy about what I had done. But I also said to her, I will not hold any resentment against you for the decision you made, because who knows, had the situation been reversed, I probably would have done the same thing what you did. So I just want to let you know, number one, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to serve. Number two, I did the best I could. Number three, I do not hold it against you personally, and thank you for the opportunity. We left that meeting, very, very cordial meeting. As a matter of fact, later on, she asked me to serve as the chairman of the board of the National Port Authority. So that's the story behind it, okay? And it's just the political dynamics of an environment like that.
Let's get this off the record as well.
Sure.
These are off the record, clearing our question before we get into the actual conversation.
You asked me a question now, then we didn't reach the main part of it, yeah?
No, we reached the main part.
He cleared the bushes. I don't want to see what he's done.
Let's clarify this. At any point in your political career, on the record or off the record, did you work in any official or non-official capacity with the CDC-led government or the WIA administration? If so,
yes,
what was that? Okay, what was that position?
I didn't work in the media administration. I have never worked for them, and I won't. Okay. In 2017, I told you I'd gone through this process of being quiet, and I came out in 2017 and stood front. And I said, I'm going to get myself involved in politics, step back in the limelight. To do that, I joined the NPP. Interestingly enough, even though I served as Minister of Finance under Charles Taylor, I was not a member of the NPP. It wasn't until 2016 or 17 that I joined the NPP. Okay? The NPP became a part of the collaborative effort between the CDC and another party for what is now the Coalition of Democratic Change. Having done that, the coalition, the CDC, Coalition for Democratic Change, established a governing council. The governing council was chaired by President Weah, and I was vice chair of the governing council. The way things worked, the governing council was the highest decision-making body of the coalition. Okay, Mr. Weah was chair, I was co-chair. Okay, so I was relatively speaking, pretty high up in that particular hierarchy. I made a determination, having served in that capacity for a while before the elections, that based on what I'm seeing, what I'm observing, what I'm hearing, what I see happening down the road, I'm not going to be a part of this. So I resigned from the CDC as its vice chair for the governing council, and resigned from the party, the coalition as a whole. I also resigned from the NPP because in 2005, one of the things that haunted my effort in a bid for the presidency was guilt by association with Mr. Taylor. I said to myself, I'm not going to be a victim of this again. I learned many valuable lessons as a result of the past. So I resigned from the CDC before the elections. And if you want, I can tell you more or less the reason why I quit. I observed all those things, and what I came to, the conclusion that I came to was the coalition did not have a good, solid agenda for governance. And to me, that was the most important at that point in time in our existence. That was what was needed most, a good, solid agenda for governance. I had recommended it, okay, to the governing council. Let's establish a, uh, a, a task force to create a strategy for effective governance. That was not pursued. That's their determination. But having observed that, I quit. And I tell you what, I have no regrets doing it. I'll do it again because if ever I'm involved in a dynamics and something goes against my own principles and values, I will step away from it. That's what happened.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me ask you this one question, and Tel will take over. Given
I'm sorry, I
your
lost
most,
you there.
can you
I
hear
lost
me?
you there.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yes.
All right, great. Given your record, especially from a diplomatic standpoint, most recently the position that you held in government was at the diplomatic and at the highest level representing Liberia. I was in a hall on Saturday, last Saturday, when you came up to speak, or when you were called out by Minister Nathaniel. He called you out. I was in the hall to make a donation or pledge or whatever you want to term it as. Given your experience, your knowledge with diplomacy and so forth, what did you tell him that day or that night? And why didn't you say another way? Other Liberians might say diplomatically or so forth. Why did you choose to say it the way you said it? What did you tell him?
Well, first of all, I don't think there was anything undiplomatic about my statement. I made my statement with a lot of focus on respect, okay, and humility. And I guess it came across harsh because you know that, my friend, the truth is harsh. The truth is tough. Okay. I tried to be cordial. I tried to be diplomatic. Okay. But sometimes when you're articulating something that is based on fact, not truth, fact, it comes across harsh. But Mr. McGill, in his own conscience, cannot say I was rude to him. I don't think the audience there can say I was rude. But the truth hurts. The fact hurts. And what I said was based on fact. Our country is among the poorest in the world. How is it that we are such a poor country and we have so many, countless priorities that we will consider providing financial support to a diaspora organization? As I mentioned to you before, and interestingly enough, the president, the newly elected president, newly inaugurated president of EULA, had in his speech said, EULA's role is to provide support for Liberia and Liberians. So to me, that doesn't sound like somebody who needs to be given fund of money from the government. What they need probably is support from the government, in, for example, in the issue of dual citizenship and what have you. But to me, it just rang of unfairness. Okay, we have poor health facilities, we have poor educational facilities, we have very little infrastructure, we have an airport that's in darkness, we have garbage and filth, okay, and feces in our streets, okay. It just didn't sit right with me as I was sitting there, okay, to think that we would take our minuscule resources and do it like this, okay, especially when EULA has the capacity to raise significant amount of money to help Liberia. So if it came across that I was harsh or rude, but all I can say to that is the truth hurt. I don't think I was rude. I think I was honest. Okay. And again, if there's anyone out there who feel that I offended them personally, I would say too bad. Because sometimes too bad. And if I had a chance to do it all over again, trust me, I will do the same thing. Okay. I'm not afraid. I understand the risk I take. I understand the risk, the personal risk I take. Okay. But I'm prepared to take that risk for the welfare and well-being of our Liberia. So if Mr.
Too,
McGill took it personally and his feelings were hurt, too bad.
okay, too bad. All right, let's turn over to Telco. These are your words. But we want to welcome Mr. Kane just before Telco comes in for a question. Mr. Kane, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Welcome, Sekou.
Thank
Glad
you.
to see you.
Thank
We
you
miss
very
you.
much, Cal. And I want to say thank you to,
Hey, Sekou, how you doing?
hey, Ambassador Ban, how are you, sir?
I'm
Good
blessed
to
and
see,
highly favored.
good to see you.
Likewise. Likewise, my friend.
Yeah.
Right. Great. Tel, it's up to you.
Well,
Well,
you
wait,
started.
let me say, welcome to Elijah too now.
Yeah, we see Elijah for a long time.
Elijah and the Truth FM family, and those people who listen to us in Liberia. I
Okay.
want to say thank you. Yeah, we are live in Liberia. So maybe Steve did not announce that, so I just coming in. I'm not sure. But yes, indeed, we are on Truth FM 96.1 in Liberia. So pretty much you have people following us on Facebook as well, but we have thousands and thousands of people listening to us through radio station in Liberia. Want to say thank you to Truth FM family and everybody else, and specifically our friend Elijah for making this possible. Elijah, thank you very much. It's good to be back. I'm here and I'm enjoying the conversation. I've been actually in the back listening to you guys, and I really enjoy, the introduction of the ambassador. He has some good resume. Maybe the day I become president, I will appoint him again. I'm not. I'm just joking. I'm not running for president, but anyway, you have some good resume, and I've been following you for a very long time. So that time we're not even on I was not even on Facebook. Talking have to talk about talk show. So I know him a little bit. Not, he doesn't know me in person, but I know him. I know who he is. I know what he has been doing. Yeah, not everything I agree with, but I mean he got some good stuff on his resume. Yeah, so it's good to be here. Tell back to you.
Yeah, so again, welcome, Pastor Barnes. I think Steve started this thing rough. I was saving that question to the end, but I think we're gonna go at it one more time. Pastor Barnes, as I listen to you now and even in the back, I still have this question. I always say timing is everything. And so, yes, I appreciate the directness and the bluntness because I'm a direct person, but I'm still thinking why you felt it was so important, and I'm sure others feel that way, so important to do it at that point. It's not about a message, we get it. I'm that place, but the where and the when. It's what I'm thinking about, and especially for you who been foreign mission, why you felt it was important to do it right there versus doing it later or doing it direct, having that direct conversation with him. Timing is most of all. It's my focus right there. So can you help us, just what was going on at that time?
Look, it's more spontaneity than it is timing. It was spontaneous. Okay. First of all, I like the expression that Steve said. He called me out. Okay. And so I said, okay, I'll go up there. And my response was more spontaneous. It wasn't to say I was trying to get him or anything like that. But at the end of the day, look, at the end of the day, wrong. I don't care whether it's done now or later or whenever. I firmly believe that what was transpiring was wrong. It was wrong. And maybe go back to Steve's point he made. Maybe that's why I always be in trouble with other people I work for, because I will call a spade a spade. Okay, so to say it's something that I literally plotted or conjured and made some sort of plan, no. My remarks were spontaneous. They were based on not only my truth, they were based on facts. And that is more or less proven by the fact that the darn thing went viral. It went viral. There are talk shows and people still talking about the issue of government funding and government budgeting and providing fund for all these things that are needed. Okay, and I let that be the message. Okay, forget the messenger. Okay, let that be the message. But it wasn't anything to say I planned it. Had he not said some of the things he did, I probably would have said nothing. Okay, but for me to sit in a situation like that, okay, I will have to go home and do what I call a mirror test. When I'm shaving or brushing my teeth, I look and that image that's staring back at me, I want to feel comfortable with the image that's looking back at me. I could not stand there and let that situation go without at least bringing it to the surface. I make no apologies to anyone about it. I won't, and I don't regret it.
Okay, I get it. So I mean, I agree the act was wrong. Even us as advocates, we're talking about it on our page. Even I mean, I've done so many posts about it because I'm a big person of public finance and governance and all of that, and spending the taxpayers' money where it should be, because I'm one of the person that got taxpayer money in the state of Texas. I think the confusion there for me was the message. Yeah, talk show will run with anything. The message, yes, but was it receptive? Did the message you're trying to get across, did it get to the intended recipient? So
I
that's
think it
the
did.
confusion there.
I think it did. If it hadn't gotten to those that intended recipients, and it may not have been Mr. McGill, it may have been bringing consciousness to the fact, or to the truth, and to the fact. Okay, bringing consciousness and seeing the fallout. It's clear to me that the message was received. Now, how people respond or react to that message is a different matter. Okay, the government would say, okay, well, what is the normal, the MO? The MO is we're going to get him. 2 days later, there's an article in the paper about linking me or associating me with some fraudulent activity. Okay, I mean, they are so predictable. Okay, that it is absolutely ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it was heard by those who mean well for Liberia, and they will do something about it. The people, go back to this song. The people who are lied to us, they deceive us. Well, what are you doing about it?
Yeah, I definitely got some concerns with the money. I mean, obviously, but let me go to our next question. That was one question with baby parts. Okay. So our next question, you kind of mentioned it, how you ran a few years ago, and I kind of look it up online too. And out of 22, you came 12, and it's somewhere around, I think, 1% or something. So given that historical data, and we're talking about the same people, I think the election is even complicated now, the processes, the people, everything. Why do you think that you are a better choice now? I mean, do you think that you can serve in other positions other than that?
To answer that question first, I will always serve Liberia regardless. And I've served Liberia all of my adult professional life. I always serve Liberia. In a private capacity, in a public capacity, yes. There are two reasons you mentioned. Number one is I've learned a lot since 2005. I've learned a lot, and like I said, I literally re-engineered myself. But the more important point is change. People change. People grow. people become aware. Sometimes it's a very slow process and evolution, but they change. The voter of today, trust me, is not the voter of 2005. Okay? The young people are beginning to realize now that, I do have power. I can make a change. This is my future. This is my destiny. I can make a change. I need to begin to re-look at how I make decisions in my life. Look, there are 3 cardinal questions that we all must address, be it our personal lives, our family lives, our service lives, our professional lives, our national lives. Question number 1, what do I want? If you don't know what you want, trust me, you ain't gonna get it. Question number 2, what must I do to get what I want? And question number 3, am I willing and prepared to do what I must do to get what I want? If we Liberian people could just sit down and look and analyze, very simplistically speaking, those 3 questions. Whether it's your personal life, whether you chasing a girl, a young man, a woman chasing a man, and what do I want? I want him or I want her.
They may chasing us.
That one already said. But what must I do to get what I want? What must I do to get what I want? Am I willing? And am I prepared to do what I must do to get what I want? Those are the 3 national cardinal questions that we must begin to ask ourselves as a people and focus on that. If we don't know what we want, we're not going to get it.
That's true. That's true.
Okay?
I love it.
Then we must know what we must do. What must we do? We must begin to reflect. We must begin to analyze. We must begin to organize ourselves to look beyond that one bag of rice. Okay? Or look beyond ethnicity. Okay? And then, as importantly, am I willing? Am I prepared to do what I must do to get what I want? Once we begin to do that, and that is where we are now. We are on the abyss of sliding into, we are on the edge of sliding into an abyss. We are on the very edge of sliding into an abyss. We need to ask ourselves those cardinal questions in order and address them in order to step away from that edge. So I hope I answered your question.
Certainly you did, and I've learned too through that question. Thank you so much, Mr. Barnes. What are you, Steve? Steve, can you hear me? Oh,
Yes,
Steve,
I can,
yes,
I can hear you. Thank you. I was muted. Yes, Mr. Kane, you have the
Yes.
opportunity to ask Mr. Nathaniel Barnes some questions.
Yes, a little common always get, I'm a little common today, so yes, but I'm happy to be here. Correct me if you have asked this question, Steve. I'm not going to dive into the EULA issue because I do not have a lot of information on that. But like I said, Ambassador Brown, I've been knowing him for a little while now. He served in different capacities in the Ellen government. So Ellen government went for 12 years, and now I think you ran in 2017, correct?
No, I did not.
When did you
I've
run?
only run once, 2005.
2005.
2005.
2005. Okay. So do you intend to run this time around?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. 2023, I'm going to be an independent candidate.
Okay. So if you were given the presidency come 2023, let's say assuming January of, let's say earlier 2024, you are inaugurated as president, what can you do differently from everybody else, specifically the recent leadership? What can you do differently from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and that of George Weah?
Okay, let me address the issue on the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's tenure then I'll answer your question directly.
Sure.
I think, personally, I believe that Mrs. Sirleaf was the proper choice in 2005. When I lost in the first round, I was the first to endorse and support her. Her first tenure of office, 6 years, I thought went relatively well. Because that, in my humble opinion, that really represented the transition of Liberia. That was the real transition government. Mrs. Sirleaf's first 6 years in office. She should have been magnanimous enough to say, yes, I've transitioned our country. Our nine should be gracious enough and turn it over so someone can take it into the development stage, a decision that she chose not to pursue. Thus, her second term became more or less, became to haunt her, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
So if she had turned over from transition and the development aspect of our governance to somebody else, I think we'll be better off today. Okay. What would I do? God willing, I'm successful in my bid. There are two primary things I will address initially. I think of all the issues that we have in Liberia, and there are many challenges. There are two that are outstanding. Number one, we are not a reconciled people. We are still stranded by this issue of disunity. Now, some people don't agree, but that's what I think. We are not a reconciled people. We need to be reconciled, united around a common factor that makes us Liberian. Okay. We need to get rid of the ethnicity issues, the social standing issues. All of those issues we need to address. And the reason why they exist is because we have lived much of our existence in denial. We've had these issues, okay, the issues of inequities, the issues of unfairness and injustice, much of our history, and we've chosen to deny it. Now the chickens are coming home to roost. We need to be more reconciled. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and paramount, is corruption. We are going nowhere, zero place, if we don't kill corruption. And when I say kill corruption, I mean in its most dire sense. Okay? Corruption is not only institutional and systemic in Liberia, it's psychological. We think corruption. Okay? Most Liberians believe that because you are an official government, you are supposed to steal. You're supposed to cheat.
Yeah.
That's expected. The other day I was on an interview with some other radio there, and the guy said to me, so how are you going to raise money? Why do you need money? You were Minister of Finance. I stopped him. I said, whoa, hold on there. You are assuming that because I was Minister of Finance, I became wealthy. And I challenge you to prove it. You see, so, and it maybe it was not his fault, but that's the way we think. So it's psychological, okay? We got little kids in the street selling armor and cold water, walking between the cars, okay? 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids. By the time those kids become 15, 16, they are master in corrupt acts, in cheating people of their change and doing all these things. We need to kill corruption. And the only way to do that is to apply the law. Okay? I tell you something. I have 3 brothers. I'm sorry. Myself, I make 3. I got 2 brothers. Should I become president of Liberia? None of them would be in the government in the first place because there'd be conflict of interest. But should they get involved in something corrupt, and it's proven in a court of jurisprudence, of legal court, I said, Teddy, Jackie, my brother, I love you. We'll find the best lawyer for you, but you will have to pay the consequences of your action. The court find you guilty, we'll put you in jail. You will pay for whatever you did. We have to be desperate about this. Okay, we have to begin to teach people that it's okay to be poor and honest. You
So,
can use your honesty to get out of that poverty. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to steal.
so
But
did you?
we need to address corruption.
Let me just interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
So did you serve Ellen's government up to the end?
No. No, I did not.
At what point did
I
you
served
leave?
Ellen government as ambassador to the United Nations and Cuba, ambassador to the United States. I was recalled. I came home and I was asked to serve as chairman of the board of the port. And guess what? I resigned.
Why?
Again, I saw things going on that I didn't like that went against my basic principle. So I quit.
So what
It's
have you
my
been
prerogative to do that. It's
What-
it's the
What
president's
have you
prerogative.
done? What have you been? What you been doing since then? And now all of a sudden, you
Well,
want
I've been running my consultancy. I've been running my in Liberia. I have a consultancy in Liberia,
okay.
a financial and business consultancy. My background is in finance and banking. Okay, I had a consultancy. It was on Benson Street. Okay, and it was pretty good. It did pretty well. Okay, so
I another question.
sure.
You ran 2005
Uh-huh.
unsuccessfully, and you joined the bandwagon of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
I didn't join the bandwagon. I don't be.
You said you were the first to
I
endorse her.
joined to serve my country. It was not a bandwagon. I
You
joined
said you
as
were
a
the first
servant.
to endorse her, right? That's joining the bandwagon.
No. I refuse to look at it as a bandwagon. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, that's okay. That's okay. But okay, you joined Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to serve Liberia.
Mhm.
And since then, you've been working on the private sector on your own stuff after the Ellen era. And now that you are running again for president. And hypothetically, if somebody say, well, this man, the last time he ran, it was just, he just needed some name recognition just to be, on the field, make the field more crowded, somehow reinvent himself. So allow whoever becomes president, come 2023, we're all maybe thinking about bringing him back. But this man is not actually running to be president. How will you respond to somebody like that?
I respond by asking the following question. Name me one president of any country in this world who was successful in his first run. You can't. It is a process. It's a journey. If one makes the determination to serve in leadership, to be a servant leader, you have to humble yourself through the whole process. Okay? So every time I ran in 2005, and every time I looked at the picture, at the environment, after 2005 was 2011, then 2017, I said, I'm not going to pursue the presidency this time. I will continue to serve my government in whatever capacity that I can. 2023, now I'm looking at it, I'm saying, we are in such a dire strait right now that I have to step forward and offer myself to serve my people. It's their determination to make it's theirs to make the determination that I'm deserving to be the servant, to be the leader. Okay, that's the determination they will make, and we have a process called democracy that makes it happen.
All right,
okay? I'm hoping that they will be. I'm hoping.
I'm sorry. I do not want to dominate the conversation. I'm going to ask you my last question, then we'll go back to Steve. Okay. Me, I like politics. So when it comes to politics, I'm on the era there. All this psychology, you must have people there.
I'm going to tell you, politics is not my era. Leadership is my era.
Oh yeah,
leadership in my era. They're not politics. Leadership in my era. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Leadership part of politics too. Anyway,
politics is part of leadership. I think you got it backwards.
All right, that's good.
Politics is a tool.
Okay,
so
let me ask you. Given all the experiences and knowledge you have accumulated over the years serving Liberia, if you were called today to serve in this government, since in fact you are not in it for yourself, you're not in it for anybody, or you're not in it for Liberia, we know everything is going crazy right now. If you were called today to serve the Liberia under this government, will you do so? Will you be willing to do so?
It depends. It really depends. Okay. If you call me and say, "Can't be Minister of Public Works," I would say, "I know nothing how to build roads or manage infrastructure." If you call me and say, "Can't sweep the floor," I know how to sweep floor too. I will do that. But it depends on the circumstances under which I'm called. Okay. And I will also do one thing very important. I will pray hard about it before I do it. Because to be very candid and honest with you, I do not like, or I'm not in agreement with the direction that this government has taken our country in. Okay. And wait a minute, let me answer your question. I don't have to be in the government to serve my people. And I've been doing that. I told you about my foundation. Just 2 weeks ago, my wife and I opened a mini computer lab in a marginalized community in Tupo Village, where the kids will have a mini computer lab with laptops, a router and everything, and a computer instructor to teach them computer in a school in Tupo Village. We give 5 laptops to a school in Claratown. That's serving, my friend. But I'm saying basically enough talk already. It's time to act. Shut up and get it done. Yeah.
Well. Thank you. I wish I would have more time to ask because I still have more questions. We were moving forward. Maybe I'll have another opportunity to ask. But thank you for your.
I hear. Anytime I'm here.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Steve is in control. If you give me another opportunity, trust me, I will ask you more questions. But Steve, thank you. Back to you.
Right. We should have the opportunity to come back here very soon. But I like to digress. I like to go back to the situation on Saturday on the 26th, which I don't know if it precipitated the 28th publication that came out about your indictment. I'm not going to go into the indictment yet. It will be my second question. But here's the first question. Considering you've had the opportunity to work in both worlds, which is on this side, the Western world, or the US, and Liberia, and you've also had the opportunity to work uniquely in the area of financing where you prepare the budget and stuff that was submitted to the Senate and so forth. Is there any constitution that was violated when Minister Nathaniel McGill made the pronunciation of the $100,000 that should go to EULA, and also promising that EULA would be in the national budget for $300,000 starting off next budget? That's one part of the question. Please hold on. The second part of this question also, the flip side of this question also is, would the Liberian government get in trouble based on how these monies are projected to be given to EULA based on the United States, maybe what are the 501c3 regulations or the US government to government transaction? And would EULA also get in trouble? What do you say?
The answer to your last question is I don't know. I don't know what the laws are and the regulations are in the US about the management of 501c3s and the recipient or the receipt of money from outside of the US. I don't know what the laws are, so I cannot answer that question fairly. Okay. Going back to the first question. Look, in terms of putting EULA in the budget is a process. Okay. The executive branch of government creates the budget and submits it to the legislature, which is the first branch of government. It's the prerogative of the legislature to approve that budget. Okay. And I would be surprised if sitting legislators that are serving their function or wish to serve their functions effectively would approve of expending that kind of money, given in that particular situation or scenario, given the dire hardships that are in Liberia. Let's just use the example of the $300,000. $300,000 could be used to clean up our streets and keep our city cleaner, so that somebody, a diplomat, doesn't describe it as the dirtiest city in Africa. Okay, $300,000 could be used to enhance teachers' salaries or enhance pay for people that haven't been paid for months. Okay, so I would question the validity and the value and the principles of a legislator that would approve such an allocation in a budget for that purpose. With reference to the first thing about the $100,000, it comes again down to the principle. First of all, where is the $100,000 coming from? Is it coming from the Ministry of State allocations? Is it coming from the president's, from the Minister of Finance office? Where is it coming from? And why is giving this organization outside of Liberia, okay, who has the capacity to raise funding well in excess of that amount to remit to Liberia and help Liberia, why do it? Okay, why do it now? All the issues about the legitimacy and all of that, that's one thing. But I'm more concerned about the principle.
Okay.
The principle.
Thank
How
you.
can you? Okay, I will shut up.
No, go ahead, please. In your thought.
No, I'm just saying that the principle is what gets to me. Okay.
Okay.
How is it that there are lots of things, disparities in our society that bothers me and should bother every Liberian. Liberia is among the poorest countries in the world.
Okay.
But look at the compensation of the Speaker of the House of one of the poorest countries in the world and compare it to the Speaker of the House of the richest country in the world, the United States. I'll get you the homework. Go do it. See who makes more money. See who makes more money, the president pro tempore of the Senate of the Republic of Liberia or the president pro tempore of the United States of America, the richest country in the world. Why is it that our legislators, okay, make on average 100 times more than what an average teacher makes? If you take a teacher and put it here and put a legislator here, who brings more value to our society today? It doesn't take rocket science to figure for me to answer that question.
All right.
Our priorities are wrong, and something needs to be done about it. And the only people that can do anything about it are the people of Liberia. You have power, people.
Thank you.
You have power. Use your power wisely. Unfortunately, your power has been sometimes taken away from you, and it's been abused. You've abused your power. Stop it. I don't mean to preach here, but this is something that's very, very serious. We are in a serious situation in Liberia. They're not play thing we're doing. They're people's lives.
Thank you.
So we must take a serious approach on what we're going to do. We must lead. Sorry, I didn't mean to preach.
No, that's fine. I'd like to jump into my second question so that the rest of the panelists can ask, their questions as well.
Sure.
We are in serious problem. We must lead. Those were your words. But let me ask you this question to follow up with what happened on Saturday night. Again, I was there. I listened to the conversation, and I want to clear out to our listeners, our viewers, contrary to what's being said outside, I was there. It was Minister Nathaniel McGill who called on you and referred to you as an opposition black or an opposition member when you were called on to make donation or pledges. But let me get to the question, because something strange happened. This event occurred on Saturday the 26th, which was last Saturday. Interestingly, on Monday, the 28th, there's an article that surfaced, and this is what it reads. Nathaniel Ban implicated in Senate Secretary Singbe's US $5 million case. Now, I'd like to, before I ask my question, I'd like to lay something out here. Some of the indictment or the charges on you really quick, and you can speak to it because we need clarity and context here. I'm not sure if this is coincidental or if this is pre-planned or premeditated, however you want to term it as. But this is what it states. Quote, the indictment dated January 17 2022, claimed that during the period of November 1st, 2014, Bounce Consulting Company, Aurora Solution International, and the MHM Echo Liberia, a Czech Republic-owned mining company, entered into and executed a consulting and retainer agreement in which retainer agreement in which ASI agreed to provide special professional consulting services as MHKEK agreed to pay a negotiated price for the services. Now, this is interesting. In the agreement, according to the indictment, Bounce was going to be paid a monthly consultant fee of $1,500. Afterwards, the consulting service fee would increase to $2,500 on a condition if the company starts to make production. But here is where I will lay my question. Bounce inclusion was triggered by the prosecutor's alleged discovery of the consulting service agreement dated November 14 between Bounce Aurora Solution International and MHKEK Liberia Czech Republic-owned mining company. Here is my question to you. Was there any foul play here? Did your company do any foul play, first of all? The second part of this question also, could this prevent you from running in the presidential election come 2023?
Thank you. I'm glad you asked this question because we need to clarify it right away. Everything that you have just described is a clear, normal process of a consultancy providing services to a client. Okay. MHM approached me. We are starting a mining company. They're going to be doing a rock crusher. We need to establish our business. We need to get appropriate duty waivers if it's applicable, because we'll be bringing heavy equipment to the country. Can you help us? That's what my company does for a living. We signed a retainer agreement, and the retainer agreement stated, a retainer agreement means that they will pay me on a monthly basis and use the services as it's needed. Okay. And by the way, $1,500 a month going up to $2,000 a month is peanuts for a consultancy like what I was running. Okay. But what services did we perform? I did sign an agreement with them, my consultancy. The consultancy was supposed to help them create a business plan, and within that business plan should have been workload forecasts, production forecasts, financial projections, okay, which are all typical in what one does in providing financial management consultancy. So we did that. They also requested that we assist them in applying for a duty-free certificate through the Ministry of Finance that will allow them to bring several $1 million of equipment into the country for investment and development purposes. The government has a policy that says, okay, if you're going to invest in Liberia and you bring a certain amount of capital equipment in, we'll provide you the appropriate incentive in pursuit of development and employment of Liberians. We will waive some duty for a period of time that will allow you to start your business to develop our economy. Okay, we help them to do that. I have still in my records have copies of the business plan that we did for them and all of the projections, including the production and all of that, and the applications, and a copy of the certificate that was granted and approved by the government, signed by the then Minister of Finance, providing the appropriate privileges. That was my role in the services I provided. Once my client received my services, they went about doing their business. I have no equity interest in the company. I have no management participation in the company. I have no role to play in the company. I don't know where their bank accounts are. I don't know how much money they have. It is not my business. I only provided consultative services. What they did with the duty-free privileges, I don't know. After the services were provided, I don't know. Okay, it's not my prerogative. Okay. Now, I have learned through my own research as a result of this particular accusation that the company, MHM, and another company got into some confusion about ownership of the equipment and all of that. And they went to court. And the court, the MHM company were acquitted, or they won the case. And the case was thrown out or decided or whatever. Okay. So the case had been judged and decided. And then all of a sudden now, out of the blue, a new case comes up with all of a sudden a new defendant. This guy called Nathaniel Barnes and his company, Aurora Solutions Incorporated. Okay. I also wonder if it's a coincidence or it may be an incident of witch hunting. But I tell you what, though, I am very well prepared. I'm very well prepared to acquire the appropriate legal representation that I will get if need be, and provide the appropriate documentation, okay, to show that I've done nothing wrong. Okay, I've only tried to earn a living like every other Liberian out there. Okay, is this going to inhibit my ambition toward the presidency? Absolutely not, because it has not one iota of substance or truth in it.
Okay, we'll pass it on to Tel. Tel, it's up to you, and then next will be Sekou.
Okay, so a couple of questions. Now that you're talking about this consultancy, I got to pick it back on it. Mr. Barnes, Ambassador Barnes, I'm sure you guys signed some sort of contract, right? You and the firm.
We signed a retainer agreement.
Okay.
That says I will do this, and this, and they will pay me this.
Okay, so it's that simple. I can always refer to the agreement to see whether, you're liable anyway. Okay, I was concerned about that. So my question, still on elections, I know, I understand endorsement is very important, even here or Liberia. So, you care to tell us some of the people that are endorsing you? What are the voters saying about you now? You said that the voters before are different now. What are they saying? Have you done any kind of survey? Who are your endorsers?
Well, I'm scheduled to be back in Liberia later on this month. We will start to do all the right polling and all that. But I tell you, I know and I'm confident that there are folks that know me. I have something of a constituency, a following. Okay, and I'm confident that I will do well. We have started to build our structure across Liberia. At the end of the day, polling and endorsements, they're all wonderful. But the most important endorsement come from those everyday people, the young people, the pen riders, the Zugos, the market women, the rural dwellers, the students, everyone.
So what are they saying now?
What am I saying about what?
No, what are they saying? What are the pen riders in the market? How they feel about you?
I think they feel very good. I have yet for some, generally speaking, when I go out there or my people go out there, the things they hear are all very, very positive and it's very encouraging. Okay. Sometimes people say that, well, the man arrogant. I already addressed that issue about my arrogance. I'm not. I'm humble. I try to be humble. But to be honest, a short answer to your question is I feel pretty good about where we are at this point in time. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not. I know better. Okay, because even if you look at the current roster of potential candidates, some of them are pretty good. Some of them they look good. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision of the people. And at this point in time, we feel pretty good about where we are. We realize that we have a lot of work to do. We're in the process of building a good, solid team, a team of leaders, not a team of politicians. And the very first thing I say to the folks on my team, please, whatever you do, don't tell me what I want to hear, what you think I want to hear. Tell me what you think I want to hear doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do Liberia any good. Be honest, be blunt, and tell me straightforward. You don't have to do it in a disrespectful or rude way, but I respect your opinion, because there are places you have been that I haven't been. There are things you know that I don't know. Okay, so the way we're doing it here, and as we're running as independent, we are going to go to where the power is. Okay, we don't want plenty of talk, we don't want plenty of rhetoric. We want to act and go to the people and let them make a good, solid decision.
So my last question, still on elections and leadership. I mean, we all know the amount of problems we have in Liberia. Pick a number, we know it. I mean, on top of, I mean, the whole gender-based violence at the all-time high. So, what kind of leader do you think Liberia deserves at this point, given all that we know?
We need a leader that's humble and a leader that's courageous. Look, I'm talking seriously here. You can't. This is not play business. Okay, we need someone that can make tough decisions that require sacrifice, and all Liberians need to be prepared to make tough sacrifices. I am tired of foreign people coming and saying your country dirty. How you feel? How your vice president would feel if you were to come alive today and see dirt in the street and you begging foreigners for money? That's not acceptable. Where is our pride? Where's our dignity? We need to get it back. We need to take control, and to do that, number one, we have to face, like my grandma used to say, some stubborn facts. We are in trouble. The trouble that we are in was caused by all of us. You know, my dad, may his soul rest in peace, he said something to me very important. He said, Nat, in the times of evil and misdeeds, when good people sit aside supinely and do nothing, they are no better than those that are perpetrating the evil. So we, all Liberians, must now get together and fix our problems. Only we can fix it. We know it. If you call any Liberian and say, what are you doing wrong with Liberia today? You better have 3 hours to spare, because they would be able to tell you, no matter where they are, where they come from, what their standing in life is, their social standing, they will tell you. We know our problems. But we must have the fortitude and the courage to grab them. And we must turn the paradigm on its ears and then fix it. We must chakla the whole thing. Let me tell you, the real could look up. We got to chakla it. We got to chakla it, then we fix it.
Then we fix it.
Then we
I
fix
love it. I love it.
So you need a leader, first and foremost, that's courageous, that's humble. Humble before God, humble before the very people he wants to lead. And then courageous to make some very difficult decisions. And trust me, there will be pushback. Some time ago, I said, you know what, the government invited me a few years ago to a summit, okay? And I said, look, you need to implement a program where from assistant minister below, from assistant minister down, should be technocrats. You empower the civil service agency to go through a process of seeking out, vetting, selecting, and placing people in positions where they can perform and monitoring them to make sure they do those things. Okay, so what I'm basically was saying was from assistant minister down. In other words, political appointment would be restricted to minister and deputy minister. Everybody else below that should be technocrats, regardless of their political affiliation, their gender, their ethnicity. The basic question is, can you produce? Okay, so that's what we need to do. We need to understand, grapple these issues, and not run away from them, which we are always doing. And the way we run away from them is by throwing political rhetoric at them. Look, Steve, we have promised. My master sergeant over here beating me across the head and shoulder because I was supposed to go somewhere. But let's see if we can speed this up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sekou, let's get a Sekou really quick. Sekou.
Yeah, Anton. Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you.
So, you know, I'm enjoying the conversation. Hopefully, we will bring Ambassador here another time to continue the conversation since he got to go. But yeah, before you go, I'm just going to go back to where we stopped in terms of running for president in Liberia. So right now, we are yet to see an independent candidate winning an election in Liberia as president. We have seen it as representative, we have seen it as senator, but for an independent to win presidency in Liberia, we haven't seen it. Maybe you will be the first, I don't know. But assuming Liberia as we know it, the competition will be between 2 or 3 major political parties, as it has always been. Maybe the government in power, 1 and 2 political party. Will you be willing to join any political party to put your idea through that party, as opposed to running and end up like every other independent candidate in Liberia without history, or you would like to maybe join forces with some political party that could enable you to carry on some of the agenda you have?
I have to say, of all the questions I've had, that has to be the most difficult one. Okay. And the reason why I've made the choice that I did to run as an independent, I've thought about it quite deeply. And you say it's never happened in the history. Well, it's going to happen. It can happen. If we're going to change the paradigm, we need to change the way we think. I believe that institutional politics has been a hindrance to growth and development in Liberia. Because as you are seeing, as I said earlier, right now, there's a lot of even bickering among the existing institutions. Why are they bickering? They are bickering over their own personal agendas and their institutional agendas. Okay. Number 2, when you go with the institutional political route, you restrict your options. Let me give you an example. A party runs for the presidency and they win. How do they appoint leaders in government? They stick within the institution. So they select people from within their party, even if that person has this appropriate skill sets, experience, academic background, or intellect to do the job. If one goes at an independent, you now have the entire spectrum of Liberia, all of its counties, including the 16th county, the diaspora, to select leadership from. Okay. Now, the political dynamics are very, very, it changes. It's fluid. Okay. I will encourage endorsement and support from institutional, from political institutions. Yes. I will only have to say to you, I'm going to just have to stick by my guns and see what happens, because one never knows the future. Okay. But one of the reasons why I'm literally pushing against this system, okay, to say it needs to change. We need to get out of the state of mind that you're in, that historically only institutions or political parties have been successful. Historically, that may be true, but the future could make the difference.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
I know I didn't answer your question directly to say, yes, I will do that. No, I won't do this. What I'm saying to you is there is a fundamental rationale behind the decision I've made, but I will let the dynamics of the situation determine what happens in the end.
All right. So, hypothetically, if the situation presents itself right now, will you be leaning more towards which political party? Or which
I don't know. They're all the same to me. At this point in time, they're all the same.
And so are you putting the opposition and the government in the same basket?
I'm saying all political parties are the same. They have their agendas, they have their personal agendas, they have their institutional agendas, and it stops there. The real agenda is the needs of the Liberian people. That is my focus. I know what my political party is. My political party right now, the people of Liberia. That's my political party.
Okay. Assuming the election happens today, you did not even come third or fourth. I'm just assuming. It's not a curse. I'm just assuming, hypothetically. So assuming you did not come third or fourth, and then you were approached.
Approach to do what?
Approach to join one party for the second round. Will you join anybody or any party based on ideology, based on policy, based on whatever agenda they have, or you will join them based on I must get this position, vice president or minister of this, minister of that, in order to get my support?
I will make that determination should it present itself.
Based
but
on
let me
what?
stop.
Based on position or based on policy?
Based on my principles.
What are your
based on my principle? My principle is ones of value, honesty, humility, and courage. Okay, so I will make that determination.
Do you see any similarity of your principle to anybody?
Let me end by answering your question this way. The word assume. What are the first three letters? Please say it for me. What are the first three letters of assume?
I don't know. I don't know.
Please answer for me. What are the first three letters of assume?
It's a bad word to see on this platform.
I said say it. I said spell it.
No, I scared to see me spell it.
Okay, I will spell it. It's ASS. Wait a minute. It's ASS. What's the middle letter? U. What's the last two letters?
ME.
Okay, I'll leave it right there. That's what assume is. When you assume, that's what you do. You make something out of you and me. And I'm not prepared to do that. No, I'm thinking. Honestly, Sekou, I'm making a joke. But what I'm trying to say to you is,
I know.
I will make that determination.
But this is a very serious issue.
I will make that determination. Should it present itself?
Yeah, but
I know.
Based on what? Based on policy.
I just told you. It's based on principles that I believe in, that I believe the Liberian people want. I personally believe that. Okay, the principles that I just mentioned to you, and where I think the Liberian people could be placed.
Is there any alignment or similarity to your principles to that of any of the candidates right now on the stage?
I really haven't even looked.
You haven't looked?
I have not looked.
And
because it doesn't matter to me. What my focus and my concern is here is not the opposition. It's not even the incumbency. It's the needs and desires of the people of Liberia. And a statement. Yes, I'm different. I know I'm different because I'm going to take the paradigm and turn it on its ears.
You might be different, but you do not sound somehow.
Let me ask you a question. Do I sound confident? Sekou, do I sound confident?
I don't know.
Okay. That's for you to judge, my friend.
You sound more I wouldn't say the word, but you sounded more. Anyway, I will leave that for another day. Okay. But yes, I like the fact that you are speaking the way you are speaking, but I will assume as a presidential candidate, you should start looking at other people right now, because you say you're not even look. I think if you have a policy, you have a program, you have an agenda, you have an idea to present to the country.
I didn't say I don't. You must have. I didn't say I don't have strategies. I got strategies.
I'm saying.
Well, let me finish now.
I'm saying.
I didn't say I don't have strategists. I didn't say I don't have analysts. I didn't say I don't have people that look at all of these things.
Yeah, but you say you haven't looked. You say you haven't looked. That means you have not even started your homework. Because
How could I have strategies and I ain't do my homework?
in order for you to come and compete, you are competing with other people.
We are talking about two different things, my friend.
No, we are not.
Say to you, if,
We are
okay,
not.
but all right, then let me explain to
We are
you.
not
If
talking
I
about
say
two
to
different
you,
things.
if I say to you, I have strategists, I have analysts, I have posters, all these people that are in line are doing all these things. Okay, then how you can say I'm not prepared or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do? Because I refuse to tell you and tell you say because I refuse to tell you and tell you say this person and this person we got the same ideas.
Let me say something. Let me say something. You know, being eloquent or talking fast or talking too much does not make you president. What makes you president
now
is
you're reducing
idea,
yourself.
is
Now you're
policy.
reducing yourself.
No,
now you're reducing yourself to insulting me.
No, I'm
Okay,
not
but
insulting you.
that's okay. When a
No,
person is a leader, they take things
No,
like those
I'm not
also.
insulting you.
But you know,
We
honestly,
are having a conversation, and you should have your thing. You don't have a thin skin.
you are making insinuations. You are making insinuations that are not fair. You are
I'm making
generalizing.
insinuation.
Okay, if I say I
I'm
haven't
making
looked at them,
insinuation that you are very eloquent, but you are not being direct.
you really
in
think
terms-
so? I don't think
You're not
I'm
being
nearly
direct.
as eloquent as any of the others out
Because,
there.
okay, here's the thing. If you are a politician and you are running against other
I am
people,
not a politician. I'm a leader. I am not a politician. I would say that to anybody, anytime, any day.
okay,
I'm not a
if
politician.
you are a leader, let's take that as face value. If you are a leader and you are running against other people, but yet you haven't have time to look at them, to look at their policy, to look at their agenda, to look at who they are.
That's not what I said.
You said you haven't looked.
That's not what I said. I said
But you said you haven't looked. I asked you if there were any similarity.
Okay, you got right, yeah? Last day, so you got right.
Yeah, you don't seem persuasive, you know. I don't know how you're going to run a campaign, but you yourself said people say you're arrogant.
Your determination.
I'm not saying
your
it, but your action. That's what your action presents.
Sekou, your determination of mine being persuasive means absolutely.
You are not being persuasive right now.
It means zero to me. You know, let me tell you, if somebody in Nukutan or one of my people in the grassroots say, "Oh, but Mr. Ban, that thing you're talking, it didn't convince me," I would take it more seriously. You basing several generalizations on making the determination as to whether
I have a lot of people in Nukutan. I have a lot of people in Jakarta. I have a lot of people.
You're not running for president, Sekou.
I have a lot of people everywhere. That I can
You're not running for president. You have a lot of people. So what? So
everywhere.
So maybe what I ought to do is to come and recruit you to help me win.
Yeah, but so you have to convince me.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I think I want off record.
Okay. All right, Steve. That was a very good conversation. But let me say this to Mr. Ban, to Ambassador Ban. Trust me, I'm not in any way attempting to demean you or try to disrespect you. No, that's what we do on SKTV. We ask tough questions, we ask serious questions, but in any way, it's up to you to answer the way you want to answer, and it is up to the public to consume it the way they want to. But I really appreciate the conversation.
The fundamental problem, Sekou,
I hope we'll have more time. I hope we'll have more time to talk. But the way you are talking is not you are not persuasive. Trust me. Steve, back to you.
The fundamental problem I think you are having is I didn't answer the question the way you wanted me to answer. That is fundamentally in my mind what the issue is. You asked me a question and you wanted me to respond a certain way. And as I choose not to, you've made some generalizations and some conclusions, which I think is unfair. But be that as it may, thank you.
Yeah, I would love to have you here so we can have a serious conversation and dig deeper. And trust me, do not be offended. Try to have strong skin. Don't have a thin skin.
My dear friend,
please.
Nothing you could do or say would offend me. Nothing.
But you just said I insulted you when I asked you a question.
But being insulted and being offended are two different things. You can throw insults all kinds of ways.
And I did not.
Okay. You insulted. You insinuated an insult. Okay,
that's been things me. I wouldn't ask a question, then you change that to be an insult. So that's been things.
Very good. Thank you.
And as a leader, I'm not going to call you now a politician. As a leader, you should not have a you should not have a thin skin. You have a very thick
Well,
skin.
why do you
strong,
think I
strong
think
skin.
it's you that's being thin-skinned? Because I just said to you, I didn't answer the question that you want to hear, and you become defensive. Okay, and it's
How?
unfortunate. Steve, go ahead.
Yes.
Do you have some time to take some questions for our viewers?
No,
Oh
truly,
my
I
God.
don't. I had said I would be here for an hour and a half, and it's been an
Okay.
hour
Okay. We
and
don't want to abuse your
25,
time.
hour and
So, Mr.
55 minutes.
Yes.
Ambassador
Thank you.
Bounce, thank you so much for the time. We'll definitely coordinate with your team to have you back here on, or maybe strict 2 hours where we can go into the nitty gritty and we can push you like we've done so far today. We'd like to use this opportunity to give you the chance to give us your pardon or your closing comments. And definitely you'll be hearing from us again.
Thank you so much. I love being pushed, but whoever pushes must also expect to be pushed back. Okay, and just I wish you understand what I'm trying to say. If you're going to push me, I will push back. And if you want me to be thick-skinned and impervious, then you must be prepared to be the same. But thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you. And the thing I want to say out there to people of Liberia is, I'm your servant. I've stepped forward and I've made some personal and difficult decisions. And I'm hoping that you will remember one thing. All this chit-chat that have gone on, all of this splendid talk that have been going on, never, ever forget, you have power. You have power. Don't let anyone take your power from you. Don't abuse your power. You have power. Use it wisely. Thank you very much. God bless Liberia.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
Thank
do
you. And
likewise.
we'll see you again. We appreciate your coming.
And
Arrivederci.
God's willing, you'll be back on the show.
Yeah, because we gotta talk about your agenda. We gotta talk about the left brain, right brain book. I don't know that book behind you.
Oh, by the way, I'm about to publish. My wife and I are publishing a new book. It's called Believer's Journey.
Ah, awesome.
So then definitely we can look into it and push you on it too as well.
You're not pushing Benet.
When you push in, you will be prepared to be pushed back.
You are tough cookie now, so
if you push, be prepared to push back. You'll have a good one, huh?
If you push in, Steve, be prepared to be pushed back, okay?
of course.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ambassador Barnes. I want to say thanks to our viewers and our listeners. I don't know. We got about 8 more minutes. I don't know if we should take.
By the way, Steve, I think
we should make the announcement and close it up for the day. So, Mr. Kennedy, you decide.
People call man.
Steve, 1 second though. Let me say this. I think the radio time we are.
The people already calling you. They're calling their phone already.
Yeah. So yeah.
Go play.
You can take the call. But Steve, let me just say one thing. I was laughing here so much. I enjoy the show. But the people in Liberia, the radio, I think they're about to go now. Probably in about 1 or 2 minutes. I'm not sure how long they're going to wait. Maybe they're going to give us a few more minutes. But the conversation I enjoyed was good. But perhaps the ambassador thought, it was going to be just, that, softball, conversation. But when somebody is aspiring for presidency of our country, you must be prepared to answer every relevant questions. And that's what we ask on SKTV. So it's not personal. And for anybody to come on SKTV, you must be prepared. Actually, you must be prepared to answer serious and tough questions. That's what we do. Sometimes we come across as being tough. Some people will take it being disrespectful or maybe somehow insulting, but no. What we do is to do the right thing for the Liberian people. So nobody should feel offended. When you come in, just come prepared. That's all we need. And we're not just going to discuss the issue. Yeah, but nothing personal. And we are not campaigning for anybody. We are campaigning for Liberia. I just want to make that clarification so that the next time the ambassador is coming, he shouldn't We are prepared to be pushed back. That's our normal routine. Once we are having a conversation, if you say something, if I say something you disagree, you have the right to come back, at me. I have no problem with it. So Steve and Tel, oh, you have a caller? You have
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to finish.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll do 1 minute each for these callers. At least let's take about 1 minute each, and we'll close, please. We'll give them announcement. We'll close. Tell, go ahead.
Yeah. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Prince Williams. I'm calling from Tennessee, the volunteer state.
Hi, Prince.
Thank you, dear, and thanks for taking my call. And Sekou, welcome back. And you look good. You look great. And mostly, thank you for keeping on things and you've been keeping things going. I appreciate that. And I want to say to the ambassador, when you come on SKTV, you have to be prepared, right? Even I might run as an independent candidate, but I would never come on SKTV until I get my ducks in a row. And what Sekou was doing is Sekou was trying to make sure that you answer the question, not evade the question, not use a political expedient to try to evade his question. But through the process of pushing back, Sekou made us to discover something. And that is, you can't say you're prepared, and then yet you tell us that you haven't looked into your opposition, but then you're claiming that you're prepared. And when Sekou push back, and you get offended, and then we saw the other side of you.
Yeah.
So next time, and try and get things in place before you come on SKTV or else we will know all about you that we don't know. And we'll finally discover that you're very arrogant, and you need to be humble, you need to be a leader, like you claim to be, and you need to be a politician too. Politicians will prepare themselves to go into public scrutiny. Having said that, the Ramadan is here. I wish you all the best. Pray for your brother, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prince.
God bless you all.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Well, folks, we are looking at time. We are pressed with time here. We're looking like we'll call it a day.
Okay.
But let's give the announcement. Let's give the announcement because
Let me say something real quick on the announcement thing.
yes, I think that you have to get out the announcement.
No, make your announcement. But let me confirm something real quick, and then I will do that. Just go ahead.
So folks, we are on tomorrow. Again, we'll be on tomorrow with a guest. SKTV is trying to go back to her normal routine or agenda, or our I don't know how you call it in politics, Moras
More operandas. Did you deviate from it? Did you deviate?
we took a break, so we're back to our Moras operandi. But here's the thing going on.
But you use the right word at first when you say our normal routine.
So no, I want to say in a political way.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
So we'll be back tomorrow by the grace of God. We want to say thank you.
What we are expecting a guest tomorrow, and the reason why we are a little bit tight-lipped when it comes to making the name public or announcement, because we have been disappointed twice. You know me, I can't have my own problem. I can say it. I can say it. We've been disappointed twice. But we are expecting the person to come on tomorrow. But
they come, we'll call it out.
Exactly.
I'm here.
So that's why I didn't want to call name, but we will wait at later time when we
That's unprofessional.
when we conclude or officially confirmed. So we will make an announcement. But yes, the conversation today was very good. I enjoy it.
Just Wally.
I know I smile at something that somebody wrote.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure on a side note, I'm positive. I'm sure that Ambassador Barnes will be back. I like the fact that he doesn't shy away from the conversation. I like his directness. You know, I like that. You know, all these.
He's eloquent. Let me just sleep. Let me just. He knows exactly what he wants to say, but in politics, trust me, you got to be prepared. Because
he's very direct. I mean, he's been in the international space for a while.
Yeah, so in politics, you got to be prepared, which means a lot of questions will come at you. Some expected, some unexpected. But you must be prepared to answer every question. You can answer the way you want to answer it. It's up to you. But you should expect any question to come at you, especially as a politician. As a matter of fact, you know, being in disagreement, to be a politician, he's just a leader. You need to get over that.
He is a politician by virtue of the fact that he running for political office.
You know,
he is a politician. Maybe he doesn't like the word, but it is what it is. He is a politician.
He's in the field, you know.
Yeah, he's once you're running for political office, you are a politician.
If you are a fisherman, you are a fisherman. Regardless.
But I think he just want to.
A fisherman cannot be called a hunter. Yeah, a fisherman. A fisherman, even though you are hunting fish.
And I understand what he was saying because
a fisherman, even though you are hunting fish, you're not going to become a hunter. You're going to become a fisherman.
But I think his political message there was, yes, I'm a politician, but I'm a servant leader. That's
let me tell you something. Those are old school politics. No one, they can't work nowadays. Those are old school politics. You got to call it for what it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, Mr. Kane.
Yeah.
So you and tell something making me laugh here before we close.
What?
Something making me laugh. So we now move from Comey's station now, or Comey's men now we tend to bounce men. You see somebody say I'm bad because my political leader. You put my political leader in situation again, you know. I just seen this man for the very first time in my life in person last Saturday.
I mean, I like him because he doesn't dodge any bullet. You bring at him, he's ready to take it.
I swear.
I like him.
Yeah, Steve, I gotta go pick up my son, you know, from practice.
Yes, we're closing. Tell any last comment before we close?
I have nothing to say. I'm looking for a conversation tomorrow. Whosoever will let him come will be here.
Exactly.
All right, we will. And even if they don't come,
we will still be here. Hey.
All right.
Y'all can't we can't
Whosoever where the flock is open, whosoever will let it come.
I see you sending a direct message to your CDC partner there that they should leave your inbox and leave other people inbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more testing, no more inbox.
Mr. Kane, why you been going there? I've been a lot of suitors and container for tell. It's just that I ain't paying the money yet.
But how come I was not informed?
Why they being informed? You've been so busy.
Anyway, let me say this. I forgot to say this when I came on. To all my Muslim brothers and sisters, we started fasting today.
Oh, today? I thought it was yesterday.
Yeah, I'm fasting right now. So we prayed last night. We started today. We're gonna go for 1 month.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say congratulations to everybody, all the Muslim Ramadan Kareem. I wish you all the best. And before the Ramadan finish, Telco and Steve Bole, he did not send my Ramadan thing.
The noise I will bring it to that finish, that small noise.
The noise that will be at 2 a.m. Huh?
Steve will have to call me out. You'll have to call the police.
Well, let me make an announcement for the inauguration. We're having our inauguration on the 21st. I tell you, be here. All of you who been put in talk. Let me show you show face for the inauguration.
But the boy who want the number, let it come to me. You're being told. Anyway, you better start sending my. See, you gotta get them my cash out no more.
Yeah.
You're
not getting my cash. Okay, get his Zelle number.
Huh?
If you don't get his Zelle number, and the next time you do show, I'll put your number there for the put a call.
No. You don't put my number for security reason. You can do that. Okay, I'll put a number on next week, tomorrow.
All right. On a serious note, though, we're looking forward to celebrating Steve in bigly. I mean. He deserves
It's
it.
gonna be great.
I mean, we're going out. We're not holding nothing.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
It's possible. Most of the people that will come, I will take them to Vegas. They don't put that I'll be in Vegas before. I'll
Yeah,
take them to Vegas.
yeah.
I'm going to see Nathaniel.
Yeah, we can do that.
Tell me what it's on.
All right, folks. Steve.
Have a good day. Have a good day, guys.